Hey guys, it's Jake here, and as you saw, I'm looking at the Bestech WARWOLF today. Sorry for you guys who think I took way too long. The thing is, when I order knives, I tend to order, several from any given manufacturer at any given time. And so I had the Bestechs, and I got like 4 of their G10 versions and their little Sapphire. So that's 5. And so I tend to review about 1 every month or 1 every 3 weeks, so I don't just do a whole bunch of Bestechs. I guess some guys like doing it that way, but I like to spread them around and have different varieties. And so in any given week, you're going to see a variety of different kinds of products and not a whole bunch of the same brand. But I thought I did the WARWOLF already, which is why this one's taking a little bit extra long. And the Sapphire's coming soon. It's got to be on one of those Wee Wednesdays. It doesn't have to be. I can do it anytime, right? But the WARWOLF is a special knife. I really like harpoon-style blades, and that's what we have here. A sort of a modified between a drop point and a harpoon blade. Stonewash flats, satin saber grind. The handle comes in 3 different colors, a black, green, and this tan, sandy kind of color. It's a flipper, and it's a really cool knife. Reverse grip is great. All the different grips, very, very comfortable. And no hot spots in the use that I gave this thing. And it certainly can work as a self-defense knife. Like, this is a very stabby blade shape. But it's not just that. This blade shape with this general belly all the way along, it's a curve all the way along, makes it a very good slicer. And D2 steel, hey, nothing shabby about D2 steel. Somebody was a little upset that I called it a budget steel one day. It is a budget steel. That isn't a term about quality. That's a term about the price range that it's in. And so I really, really like this stuff. So let's go into the full review, put this thing on the tabletop, and we're going to take a good close look at the Bestech WARWOLF coming at you right now. So there's the knife. Let's open it up. Action on this thing is awesome. Ball bearings, of course, and I'll show you the insides of the knife a little bit later on in the video. Oh, I forgot to turn my lights on. Here we go. Adjust the light just a little bit. There we go. Pocket clip is right side only, but it's tip up. So yeah, there's no holes here for a left side pocket clip. Unfortunately, this knife could benefit really well from being a left-handed pocket clip as well, but they'd have to make a second pocket clip because it's a directional pocket clip. With the angle that it is with those screws and stuff, this exact pocket clip simply won't work on this side. They'd have to provide a second one, and I don't think Bestech is into that kind of thing yet. Who knows, maybe in the future. I would definitely suggest that to them. The G10 is nicely milled. It's mostly flat, and then it's got sort of a really nice chamfered edge, sort of scalloped a little bit to make it really fit a hand well. Chamfered edge all the way around. And, it's very, very comfortable in the hand. No really sharp edges on the handle at all. No sharp edges on the liners. The liners are even chamfered on the inside edges right there. So if you push your hand in between there and you pull across like that, pressing down, on some knives, you can really irritate your skin by pressing hard and pushing across like that. Not here, because it's done very, very well. And the liners are so thick, they had to do a little bit of a relief cut right there to make the liner lock work. Like they have to do on frame lock knives. Lockup is perfect. Let me get you close up of that. The lockup is exactly where you want a brand new liner lock knife to be. So that's really good. So we've got a really nice sharpener's choil here. Comes out a nice distance here, a rounded plunge. And so the edge where the cutting edge starts is right there. So it's easy to sharpen without getting up onto the plunge or the ricasso and making a mess. Nice satin grind here. The flats are a beautiful stonewash, and there's the name Bestech knives, nice and small. Oh, the light, there we go. Because the way the light's on it, you can't always see everything. And we've got a nice swedge here, ending in where that distinctive step up goes for what we call a harpoon point. Strong blade tip and good cutting edge. No jimping back here. There's no jimping anywhere on this knife unless you call this back here on the handle jimping. And that's just sort of some generous, gentle waves right there. Maybe it's a little bit of jimping. I didn't find any grip where I actually used that unless I want to do an extended grip where I put my index finger here and put my pinky back on there. You know, if I needed to reach with this knife, that's the only time I ever use this here. And maybe if my hands were bigger, but they're not that big. So there you go. And the flipper tab acts as a bit of a guard right there. That's nice. We've got their little B kind of shaped. It almost looks like a B for the, looks like a number 8 more than a B, but for the pivot screw. And then the Torx screw is on this side, all Torx everywhere. Really, really nice. I like how this knife performs as well. In my tests, it did very well and very comfortable in hand. So let's start with this beautiful D2 steel right here with the dimensions. Cutting edge, 8.8 centimeters, 3.46 inches. Blade length, so from the G10 to the tip, 9 centimeters, 3.54 inches. Blade thickness, a third of a centimeter, 3.33 millimeters, 0.131 inches. The blade depth, biggest right here, 2.8 centimeters, 1.1 inch. Thickness of the edge behind the grind, about an inch from the sharpener's choil. That's where I do most of my cutting. That's where I like to measure this. 0.5 millimeters, which is 0.0197 inches. That's exactly on target. I hope to find a knife of this type of steel, you know, general EDC style knife to be 0.5 millimeter thick right behind the grind. Beautiful. The grind angles, now that's, I'm a little disappointed in this Bestech knife. You know, nothing major, of course, just a minor thing. The grind angle here is 26.3 on one side and 23.4 on the other side. And I would much rather they got it closer to 20 degrees per side. You know, 26 is quite a bit steeper of an angle than I like. You know, so what that means is, you know, that edge, you know, it comes up to a point like this. Here's the cutting edge. And if the angles are too big, you know, this is a major exaggeration. That's 90 degrees in here. You know, then it can't cut through things very well. But if it's shallow, it cuts through more easily. And of course, there's a best number. You know, if you get too shallow, then the edge will break and bend easily. But if you're too steep like this, then it doesn't want to cut through things. 20 degrees on an EDC knife, 20 degrees per side. So 40 for the full radius right there of the angle. 40 degrees like that, that's awesome. You know, it sounds like a lot when you think of 40 degrees, but really it isn't, because your edge needs to be durable and sharp, and you need to find the balance between that. And 20 degrees is very good for most EDC knives. Kitchen knives, like cooking knives, are a much more fine angle. They're often about 15 degrees per side, sometimes even less if the steel is really, really good. Like on the Dalstrong knife that I reviewed recently, that's 10 degrees per side, so 20 total. So very, very nice stuff. But this D2 can easily handle 20 degrees per side, probably even 17.5 degrees per side for D2 would be just fine if it's been heat treated well. But we're doing measurements. We're onto the handle. Is 11.9 centimeters, 4.69 inches. The grip area, so after the flipper tab to the end here, is 10 centimeters, 3.9 inches. The handle thickness, not counting the pocket clip, is 1.6 centimeters, 0.63 of an inch. Very, very nice for this size knife. I like it being a little over half an inch. Very good. And the depth of the handle with the blade in it is 3.3 centimeters right there, which equals 1.3 inches. And the handle depth when the blade is deployed is biggest right here as well, 2.57 centimeters, 1.01 inches. The total length of this knife with the blade deployed is 20.8 centimeters, 8.19 inches. So we've got an 8-inch knife plus a little bit, and a 3.5-inch cutting edge, 3.5-inch blade, basically. So in general terms. So that's not bad. That's good proportions. The balance point on this knife is right there, and that's not bad. Pretty much where you want it. I wouldn't mind it if it was a little bit further forward, but you know, it's a little handle heavy, but that makes for a lot of agility because there's less weight hanging out here on the end. So yeah, for a WARWOLF, it's an agile knife, very easy to use, comfortable, good grip on here. People with almost any size hand are going to find this comfortable. My hands are large. Somebody asked, why do you say that on every video? Well, I know it gets kind of old. It gets kind of boring hearing me say, my hand is large. It borders on extra large. That is between 10 and 11 in the European glove sizes. Saying that in a weird way for emphasis. Sorry if you guys get bored with some of the things I have to say, but there's always new viewers, and if I don't tell them things like, you know, what size my hands are, then I start getting emails. Is that knife going to fit my hand? My hand is such and such. So that's why I include it on every video. Sorry if that section bores you a little bit. I didn't talk about the weight of this knife. It is 132 grams, which is 4.65 ounces. And that's because of the skeletonizing in there. So now let's open this thing up and take a look at the insides, at the liners and the ball bearings, you know, and the pivot. It has a fixed pivot, so you undo this screw and nothing turns along. When Bestech first started, they were having some free spinning pivots, and they're starting to well, by now they've phased that out completely in production. Most of your Bestech knives that are in stores will have the the D-shaped pivots, the locked pivots instead of the free spinning. How much do you want to pay for this knife? Well, I want to pay nothing for a knife, but most of these Bestech knives are selling for $52.99, and Bestech asks every vendor to sell it for the same price or more. So the lowest price you're going to find for this, generally speaking, is $52.99. So what do I think of this knife? Fit and finish, excellent. I love the fit and finish. For the price range, this is great fit and finish. The chamfered edges all over, even here on the flipper tab, you know, this chamfered edge here, beautiful. And the only sharp edges is the tip of the blade and this cutting edge right here. Very, very good. I like the little bit extra handle length in this knife. That's a really good thing. Very good sharpness choil. Love that. You know, the factory grind leaves a little bit to be desired, but I'm going to sharpen my own knife anyways, and you should too. And if you're not very good at sharpening knives, or you just don't have enough money for a good sharpening, I'm going to be reviewing a more budget knife sharpening system very soon, hopefully by the end of the month, that you might be interested in. Excellent skeletonizing in there for the weight reduction. There's only one odd thing about this knife, and let's talk about it. The flipper tab. Not only is it odd, it's awesome as well. You've got a little bit of a back angle, so it works great in light switch mode. Because the tip of the flipper tab is behind the center point of the pivot, it also works just to push straight down, and the blade just flies out. But take a look at this knife. Take a look at that flipper tab. I find it odd. I asked my wife the same thing. I just showed her the knife. What's odd about this knife? And we're looking everywhere. We've got angles. We've got angles. We've got, you know, chamfered edges. We've got, you know, this harpoon point and stuff. And everything's nice and angular and everything. And then we've got this very soft, rounded flipper tab. Is it functional? It's more than functional. It's an awesome flipper tab. But I don't know. It almost seems a little bit out of place. If they would have made it a little bit more angular, it would suit the rest of the knife a little bit more. But that is 100% a taste question, not a quality question at all. Quality-wise, it's great. It just seems a little bit, out of place to have this very rounded flipper tab. But like I said, functionally, it's awesome. So what do I think of this knife? Well, here's the factory edge after I've used it for a while. You know, it is doing a tiny bit of tearing. That's a true push cut where I'm pushing through one spot on the blade. You know, slicing, it slices great, you know, when you're moving your blade through like this. But a push cut where you're just on the same spot all the way through, you can really see how sharp a blade is that way. And, you know, it's doing a tiny bit of tearing and stuff, but I've used this knife quite a lot, and it's cutting quite well. So this D2 steel, they've done a very good heat treatment on it. I haven't had any chipped edges, no rolled edges. They're doing a great job with their heat treat, and I really like that an awful lot. Let's see if I got something else that I can do a cut test on. I found some more of this banding that I was using for a while. And watch this, just zips through that without a problem. That's really good. Now, you wouldn't normally use a WARWOLF to whittle with, but and if I look at these edges that it leaves on the wood, that's very smooth compared to some of the other edges that other knives have cut on this wood. So yeah, it's a good knife. If you're in the market for one of these knives, then you're going to want to get one wherever you can. I'll list a few places down below. Amazon.com has got a lot of Bestech knives. Unfortunately, Amazon for other countries, Canada, France, UK, Germany, very few Bestech knives, but you might find some there. Just check at your local stores, and if they don't have them, ask for them, and you might be able to get them, because Bestech are not hard to find, and distributors should be able to get them in stock without too much trouble. Very good up-and-coming company. I need to place another order for some more Bestech knives. For transparency's sake, I need to let you know that I bought these knives with my own money, but I did get a discount from Bestech so that I would be able to review these knives. And I make every effort to give a clear, honest review of these knives. Hold back nothing. Don't pull any punches. Say it as I see it. And I do that for every knife the same way, if I've bought it or if I got it for free or if it was something in between. Thanks, guys. Thanks for liking, sharing, subscribing, being Patreon supporters. That's awesome. Letting the commercials run, the advertising run on my videos, that's a big help to me too, especially if you use my links when you make your purchases. That's great. For those of you who didn't know, I do have an influencers page on Amazon where I've got a whole bunch of knives that I like, and there's a link down below, and you can check out some of the knives that are available on Amazon that I very much like. Till next time, remember, guys, always cut towards your chum, except for this motion. Don't do that to anybody unless you absolutely have to. Cut towards your chum, not your thumb. Bye now.